Hello, me again, Ged Dodd, PeaceHavens. I can't get out now, as you're aware, so I keep going through my stuff and I find things. I quite like the site, all kinds of lead, all types of lead, fascinating site. But I keep looking on there, and whenever a lead weight comes up, inevitably they say this is a steelyard weight. Well, maybe it is down south, but I work on mills up north, and these weights I have found well in excess of 300 of these round the mills, so they're loom weights. They got this where they hang on the thread and they keep it under tension. Now, I know they're not steelyard weights because, look, they're all different sizes. And they're just a rough chunk of lead used to keep a thread tense. And I'm just showing you these because a lot of the times the steel metal at the top, it just rusts away. And they're about late 18th to early 19th century. Now, this one, I've had a couple of these, and anything that has a lead top like this and is handmade, it's probably older. It's probably 17th century, local mill, local farm. Possibly broke even there. Now, this is another one that goes with a mill. You see, got all right through it, and some of the threads need more tension, so they have a thin rod and they put these on. I'd literally hundreds of these as well. You just put them on, put another one on, and you fine tune the weight until it's just what you're looking for. And they're late 18th, early 19th century. Okie dokie. Now, when I'm working around the mills and in the fields looking for the seals, as I do, come across lots of medallions, and these aren't lead, they're pewter, and they're grotty and they fall apart. They look very nice when they're first made, and they're all religious. And the way you can tell is just turn them over. And can you see the book? They have a book on the back. And they give them out at Sunday school. Of course, they were religious, far more religious then than they are now. Here's another one, similar. Figure on the front, turn them over. Hey, look, it's got a book on it. It's religious, comes from the Sunday school. And then you get the likes of this. Famous fellas. Wesley, look. There we go, Wesley. Really, you know, it annoys me the way they're made out of this crap lead pewter stuff, and they just disintegrate. Really upsets me. But they give a lot of valuable information. July 1843, opening on 1846. Wesley Chapel. Whatever. The point is, if you're finding these sort of things, or you're near sites where they're working in the fields, you're bound to get those. All the mills I'm working with, they have bleaching fields where they put the cloth out, the linen, and they just stake it out and bleach it in the sun. And they put all sorts of weird and wonderful things on it. Cow urine, acids, anything you can think of to make it white. And these are indicating the size of the cloth. And I don't know whether it's in feet or ells or whatever it is. And there's another one, look. Let's get it right so you can read the numbers. Had it right way up to start with. That's the trouble with lead, the figures are very hard to read. Now while you're out there in the field, there's some... I do the PeaceHavens site, and I'm doing mainly Russian flax and hemp bale seals. But I got conned into doing a list of Dutch customs house seals. Thank you, Stuart. I got about 350 or something different. They've got the Dutch shield and crown at the front on the obverse. And on the back they got R and A, which is customs and excise, and a post number 74. Like I said, we got about 350, trying to get the whole... there's probably about 1,500 different posts. So if you come across one of these, send us a picture, front and back, and where in the country you found it. So gradually we're putting together where these things are ending up. Now also, you'll get these. These are quite nice. Well, all these are from our broth, and I've just picked them out. There's nothing fancy. Cross keys, and it's Riga and it's flax, and you see between the bits is that cross, and that tells you there's lots of these seals with cross keys. They gotta have that cross in between. It's Riga. And the bottom, the bows. See, I've got many of these things. I put this bit with this and this bit with that, and finally figured out exactly what it is. The cross up there has been mangled, but down the bottom between the bows, these Riga has all fancy things on the bottom here, on the bow bits. If they're these circles, again, it's late 18th, early 19th century, and they have a number in between, 1, 2, or 3. Which is the grade of the flax, and that is a 2 grade, look. That's a number 2. Trouble with seals is, always got bits missing or distorted, and I've served an apprenticeship of over 6 years on these things. Got the biggest collection in the world, so now I look at one and I can tell you, you identify these by what isn't there, not what is. Right, this is a Baltic States. Again, it's a flax seal, but it's a shield. It's called a quartered cross. There's a cross across the shield, and it has pellets. Now, the pellets tell you where it comes from, but nobody knows. So far, the only one I've been able to discern is one pellet. 1111 pellet is from Narva, up on the Baltic. So I just classify them as Baltic States. On the back of these, there's always 2 initials. Like I said, look, there's missing. But that is a CR, I know it is. I've had that many. And underneath it says 12. That means there's 12 flax plants in the bale. And you can have 6, 9 or 12. The 6s usually go down to Portugal or Sweden. They're really poor quality. Right, but what I go looking for are these things. These are Russian Flax Bale Seals. You've probably heard of them, but once you see one, you know it's a Russian Flax Bale Seal. You see, if you can't read it, it's in Cyrillic. I can. This is Inspector. That LD up the top there, it's an L and a D in Cyrillic. It means Flax Inspector, and then his name is K-O-S. It's not a C, it's an S. T, that's an I, not an N. And that should be a H there, which is an N. Costin. And that little thing at the end says that's the end of a male name. And he works out of post 11. I'm showing you really grotty seals here, so don't worry. If it's got 2 letters on, I'll identify it. On the top it says NP. Everybody used to say it was Narva Port. No, it isn't. It just means that before 1829, flax tax was paid to St. Petersburg. If it said SPB, it didn't mean St. Petersburg, it meant hemp tax had been paid. And on there it's AF12H. Those are the initials of the grower. 12 flax plants in a bale. And that H is really N. It means 12 number. And that is 1788. You know, like I keep saying to people, don't try and identify these. You've got to know what should be there, not what is. That looks to be 1488. No way. It's got to be 1788 because they didn't start until 1730 odd. And if it was 1888, it's too late. They'd lost all faith in the grading by then. So it's got to be, it's what you know should be there on these things. So if you get them looking like this, Flax Bale Seals, send me a picture, front and back, I'll identify them for you, no problem. Done over 6,500 so far for people. Right, me I like these, biggies. N25, that's number 25 post. Don't know who worked out of it because lots of different inspectors worked out of the post. On the top it says NP, so already you know this is a flax seal. There's an A missing. That says AN9PS. This is mixed Cyrillic and, and Latin. Will really upset you. AN was the grower. There are 9 flax plants in the bale. The P is picked. It's puked sort of is weird, but it means picked, sweet, or select. So they're pretty good quality flax, and it was graded in 1761. These are number only seals. Love them. Like those. Best of all though, Archangel seals. In about 1829, all the buyers said, your grading's rubbish and we're not going to take any notice anymore. You're not going to tell us the first grade when we know the rubbish. So they did a complete regrading for a couple of years, 5, 6, 7 years, and then they packed up altogether in Russia. But Archangel, they always was and always were well graded, so they carried on. This is 1851, but I've had these 1904. I mean, into the next century they were still regarded as good. Up the top there it says APXBP, Archangel, you know, Archangel Bracht, Cheska. So it was Bracht as Cheska. That's Cheska. And Cheska, it was all the bits and pieces and stuff left over almost from the bracking and the scutching and what have you. They couldn't really make linen out of it, so they used it to make twine and ropes. Tow, they called it. Tow. And it was third sort, which meant they regarded this as third. You got a first, second and third, sometimes a fourth sort. But a third sort, well, it's not right good. The owner previous owner of it was B-L-E, but their last letter was a D in Latin instead of Cyrillic. So I've got a whole page of that on the site. V-L-E-D, that was the name of the laddie. 1851. Now the inspector, up the top there says D-E-S-Y-A-T, Desert, and that's his name. There's about 1,000 different from Archangel, so I'd have to look on the own list to work that out. You send one of these in, and it takes me anywhere from an hour to 2 or 3 days to actually figure out what the heck these are, and keep cross-references. I've got 120 odd databases to cross-reference. So when somebody sends in a picture of just one side and says, oh, the other side's blank, I said, maybe blank to you, son, but to me, it speaks volumes. So I just boot them off the site and say, send it back, because you've got the rules at the top. I need the front, I need the back, and I need where found to identify. If you don't play ball, you get knocked off. I'm not here to like people, I'll get people to like me. I'm here to identify stuff. Now, there are thousands of different seals, not Russian, Flax Bale, and the best laddie for that is Stuart. Stuart F. Elton, he's got bagseals.org, but if you come on my site, you've got a reference to his site. In fact, I run one for things that aren't Russian Flax Bale Seals, because I don't want my site cluttered up. I'll say, hey, it's not Russian, put it over there, and you've got 4 of the best people in the world having a look at it, and it's certainly not me. If it's not Russian, it's not me. Ah, dear. Hey, it's nice to have a chat, but it doesn't look like I'm ever going to get out again. The old legs have gone. But I love my seals. I've got 120 databases which need updating 24/7. But when it comes to having the biggest set of Russian Flax Bale Seals in the world, I've got about 1,000 times. You put it this way. While I'm here, I'm going to bend your ear. Lancaster Museum up north, that's where they landed the flax for Bentham Mills. They have 12 seals in the museum. When I did the Bentham Mills and I got the PeaceHavens team on it, we found 1,410 seals. Now, whereas everybody in the past, they had one seal to have a go at, say like that, or that laddie, at Bentham, I was getting 20 or 30 of the same date, the same fella, and any slight little variation. So I was able to rewrite the books. But really good. Now down south you're going to find hemp seals, because they didn't have the mills down there that we had up north in the Industrial Revolution. We had mills churning out, no exaggeration, millions of feet, yards of cloth, and shipping it back all over the place. Made a lot of people rich. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. I wish you well. It's out there. Go get it. And if you get a lead weight and somebody says, oh, steelyard weight, don't be too sure. I don't think I've ever found one up north. But I've found hundreds of them. Anyway, you take care. Till I see you next time. Bye.